we go. Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another edition of Fantasy Football Fever. It is Tuesday night, December 2nd, 2025. Welcome to December, everybody. I don't know about you, but here in Northeast Texas, it has gotten cold. Really cold. I mean, autumn around here in Texas feels like it only lasts for maybe 2 or 3 weeks. But seems like already, like the old song said, winter is here again. Oh Lord! So the weather's getting colder, but the action is getting hotter. And of course, I've got my buddies here with me. Of course, I'm Tim McClelland. That, of course, is the host of Hook on Sports, John Flynn. This is our lead commissioner, John Natale. Gentlemen, how we doing?
Yeah. Doing good. Yeah, this is the pivotal point. We're in the very last week of the fantasy regular season. This is where all the drama rolls.
And I know for you, we'll get into to that because we have so much on the line because a lot of you are trying to figure have figure out what you need to do. For those of you who still don't know their destiny for the fantasy postseason and all that. So so I think the move going into this is
playoffs. Don't talk about it. Playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs.
Exactly, Coach. That's what we're talking about. Of course, we'll be starting the playoffs next week, as well as I'm sure most of all of you fantasy players out there will be having your playoffs starting next week.
Yep.
But of course, before we can talk about next week, we got to talk about this past week in our fantasy league, and we're going to start by looking back at my matchup with Natale, and I actually was able to get my third win this year, 127-2 to 84-92 over John Natale, and I had some pretty good numbers from some of my players, including Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, Rasheed Rice. Got 19 points from my kicker, Jason Myers. Uh, although Aaron Jones and Tyrone Tracy, they they kind of underachieved this year or this past week. Uh, Zay Flowers was a real disappointment for me, but I do have something to say about him later on in the show. And looking on the other side here, Natalia's best players were Ashton Jeanty and Brees Hall, Chris Olave, and Roquan Smith. Uh, let's take a look at the bench players that we had. I think had Jared Goff leaving me 24-64. For some reason, I should have put in Jameson Williams, but I guess I forgot to at the last minute. But I don't know if that would have made any difference. It probably wouldn't have made any difference if I did start him or not. But he's been putting up some pretty good numbers in fantasy so far this year. And meanwhile, Baker Mayfield left John with about 14.6 on the table, and Kamani Vidal for the Chargers had 20.7. Xavier Worthy, 11.4. Marvin Harrison, 12.9. And David Montgomery had 12.8. So after that matchup, I got my third win. I'm 3-10. Natale is 6-7. And he's in the one interesting fight for that one spot in the playoffs here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I noticed that Flynn's mic was muted a little bit there. And speaking of Flynn, let's go ahead and take take a look at his matchup. He beat David in this matchup, 143.44 to 98.38. So tell us about it, Flynn.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I was gonna say, when my mic suddenly was off, but since Rasheed Rice came back in week 7, he has the exact same fantasy point numbers as Jackson Smith and Jigba. So they've been the top receivers in fantasy since week 7 because they're averaging 21.6 PPR points per game since then. So. Yeah, I mean, he's had 4 games of 22, 23 or more PPR points, and he's been he's been a target hog for Mahomes and this offense here, and he's just been superb. So and Rasheed Rice could wind up being a league winner in our league. So. That was something I wanted to say about there. Now, as for my league, I was kind of underwhelmed with some of my things, but so I mean, Lamar Jackson looked really slow, and he didn't, and he was it doesn't look 100% healthy. But I, I got a look. I got a below average who I just acquired in the trade with Natale. So Tyler gave me 11 points. Cortland Sutton gave me 17.2. He caught a touchdown, and he almost had another one. Jordan Brooks, 12 tackles, and then the Seahawks defense / special teams took full advantage of Max Brosmer and the Minnesota Vikings over the weekend. A 26-0 shutout victory for the Seahawks in that one, and then Bosmer only had one kick, and that was an extra point in that disastrous loss. Although I will say I do have Tim McClelland back, so I have some added wide receiver depth, which I think is which could be useful. Jackson Dart came back. He left 13.56 points on the bench, and man, some of the stuff we saw from Jackson Dart was like yikes. So with the not going out of bounds on that hit early on, but it was a perfectly legal hit, and you had to call it otherwise. As for David, he got 20 points from Drake May. He got 5.8 from Jordan Mason, which was kind of on the nose here. He got 15.9 from Quinshawn Junkins, 5.6 points from Stephon Diggs. He only had one catch. Romo Dunse only gave him 2 catches for 8 yards. Evan Ingram, he had a solid performance against Washington, and believe it or not, that was his best fantasy performance of the season so far with 13.9. So it's disappointing. Theo Johnson had 5.9, but he should have had a lot more if he didn't drop that touchdown on a beautifully thrown ball by Jackson Dart. Robert Spillane, Patriots defense, 17 points, which helped with that punt return touchdown by Marcus Jones. And then he forgot to set his lineup. Jamar Chase, Devon Achane, Joe Burrow, George Pickens, Christian Watson, all left on the bench.
So that's where that matchup. So Flynn now has 11-2, and David is 4-9.
Yeah, and with this victory, I'm now the number. I for the fourth straight year, I clinched the number one seed in our fantasy league.
Yeah, very nice, very very nice. Let's go now. Let's go to the battle between Andrew and Alex here, and Alex pulled off this victory 127.62 to 116.94. Looking at Andrew's numbers, 16.44 from Bo Nix. Saquon Barkley only got him 5.6. Derrick Henry 17.4. Lad McConkey 13.9. Chris Godwin 10.8. Deuces from Trey McBride. Trevion Henderson with 11.6. Over on the other side, Alex had Matthew Stafford 11.62. Another big day for Bijan Robinson at 30.3. Javonte Williams 17 even. Brock Bowers got him 22.3. Carson Switzinger, linebacker for Cleveland, got him 10. And 14 from his kicker.
Andy Borregales.
Andy Margalis. Now for Andrew, his bench players got 10.46 from Caleb Williams, 10 even from Cameron Dicker, 11 from Ramondre Stevenson, 11.1 from Debo Samuel, and Nick Bolton got him 11. Meanwhile, over on the bench, 25.76 big points from Jordan Love, Kyle Pitts Jr. at 15.2, Jacoby Brissett 19.64. And that's pretty much how that goes. He still has Tyreek Hill and Mike Evans both on his injured reserve. So
what I think the most surprising thing to me this entire weekend was that Saquon Barkley ended up with under 6 fantasy points, and I thought this was the perfect matchup for him to get right against the Bears defense that's had some issues stopping the run, but 13 he had 56 yards rushing, and it was the first time all year Barkley was held without a catch. So he could have run the ball effectively against Dallas, and there's only been one game this year. It was the game against the Giants where he had better than 5 yards to carry in a game. So Saquon Barkley has been the number 13 running back in fantasy, and it's just been nothing really to write home about. He only has one game of 20 plus points, and that's why taking Bijan Robinson over Saquon Barkley was the easy choice for Putnam, and for anybody in that matter. For that matter. So you had that, and then I mean, you're starting to see why Brock Bowers was the highest rated tight end in fantasy this year. Because he's been much better since he came back from injury. And then Trey McBride as well, putting up a monster season. I mean, crazy. He had 7 straight games where McBride's had 9 or more targets, and now this year he's scoring the touchdowns because he only scored 1 touchdown all of last year, and now he has 2, 3, 4, and he already has 8 receiving touchdowns in this season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and so with that victory, that brings Alex to a record of 6-7, while Andrew is sitting at 8-5. Meanwhile, let's talk about Lucas and Adam here. And Lucas got this one by 115.44 to 103.72. Looking at the numbers here, well, Justin Herbert, even though his team won, I think he's still feeling the effects from his non-throwing hand injury. He got 12.84 points. Shamir Gibbs had 11.6, 18.7 from James Cook, 13.2 from Puka Nakua, 21-2 from RJ Harvey. Now, RJ Harvey has definitely been one of the biggest rising stars in as far as the running backs are concerned. And the Chargers defense got him 15.0. Meanwhile, over on Adams' end, he got 16.72 from Josh Allen. Jonathan Taylor, 15.1. He got 10.7 from George Kittle. Travis Kelce at 15.5. And 12 points from the kicker, Brandon Aubrey. And looking down at these bench scores, well, looks like there was a bunch of points left on the bench for on Lucas's side. Trevor Lawrence at 21.66, 20.6 from Jack Ertz, 20 even from the Bills defense and special teams, and Ted McMillan with 11.3. Meanwhile,
it's mind you, Ted McMillan only had one catch the entire day, and it was a game-winning 41-yard touchdown pass from Bryce Young. So McMillan salvaged something out of nothing, but he was only targeted twice. So I would have to venture that after Carolina's bye week, that I think he's going to go back to receiving 5 to 10 targets a week. So I would not. So I mean, if you're a Ted McMillan fantasy owner and you're already in the playoffs, I wouldn't fret about that performance whatsoever.
right. And meanwhile, over on Adams' bench, just 17-12 from Brock Purdy and 10 from Chase McLaughlin, and only 2.68 from Aaron Rodgers. Oh my goodness!
I mean that was ugly from Rodgers. 10 of 21, 117 yards. He lost a fumble, and it was just bad. So.
Yeah, that was terrible. So, and after that matchup, that puts Lucas with a record of 9-4, Adam 4-9. And last but not least, we take a look at Dino and Casey. And Dino took this one 147.9 to 89.64. Looking at Dino's starters, he had Jalen Hurts with 16.3, Josh Jacobs at 10.1, Jalen Warren at 12.4, Devontae Adams 21.8, 35.2 from A.J. Brown, 11.3 from Harold Fannin Jr., 10 points from Bobby Wagner, 19 points from the Jaguars. So except for only 2 starters, pretty much got double digits with all the rest of them on the starting list.
I mean that's 2 straight games of 100 or more receiving yards for AJ Brown, because he had 110 in week 12 against Dallas, and then against the Bears, 10 catches for 132 yards and 2 touchdowns. So so now those who drafted AJ Brown earlier are finally starting to get returns on their investments.
Yeah, if I get this. Meanwhile, on Casey's side of the board, got 29.44 from Patrick Mahomes and 18.3 from Chase Brown. Hunter Henry only got 11.3. Very, very rare here. Amon-Ra St. Brown. He is still kind of hurt a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, nobody figured that he would get hurt in the second possession of the game and not come back, and for a lot of Amon-Ra St. Brown fantasy owners, him getting hurt felt like the end of their matchups before most of the other games, the rest of the other games even started. That was a killer for his owners, for Amon-Ra St. Brown owners. So like and that's why when I thought that this matchup between Casey and Dino ended right there.
Yeah, so the big question is, will Amon-Ra St. Brown be ready when the Cowboys come calling this Thursday night?
Yeah, I mean that's gonna be a big focus on that, because almost everyone has every league has Amon-Ra St. Brown rostered, so we'll need to see if he's gonna go, and then And then are we looking at another big game, Jameson Williams? Are we looking at something from Isaac Tesla or someone like that? Because I think Isaac Tesla is going to be claimed by a lot of leagues this weekend.
Yeah. So now we're taking a look at the standings after 13 weeks of action. And yes, it is true that 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 our friend Flynn once again has clinched the playoffs, clinched the division, clinched the first round bye, and it looks like Andrew has already clinched his first round bye as well.
Yeah,
So
so Andrew is locked in as the 2 seed in our league, and I'm locked in as the 1 seed in the league. So Team America, Lucas, and Wisconsin Pizza Rolls, the Dino. So they'll be looking at who's going to be the 3 or 4 seeds. So that's what's going to be settled this week, and then it leads to three teams left because David and Adam got eliminated from postseason contention with their losses this week. So Adam is in with the win, and if Adam wins, the loser of the matchup between the Natale and Casey is out.
hmm.
So because if Casey beats Natale, then both sides would be 6-8, but Casey would have the head-to-head sweep.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So I guess we
let's
now
go to
look ahead.
week 14. Yeah,
Yep.
and we'll start with the matchup between Natale. I'm gonna go to let's go to box score here. So
And
so
Casey's the
we
last
have
person
that.
that I wanted to
So
play.
the first matchup we will look at is the one.
Yeah.
So
Casey was, he's the
let's
last.
see. Is he gonna he's gonna have to make some adjustments to his lineup because he's got some players on the bye this week. So and we'll see when it comes up.
Yep, he does. He's got 1, 2, 3 players that are on the bye this week. So let's see. So he's got a running back, a tight end, and his kicker. So looking at his bench here, doesn't really have a tight end. He'll have to go fishing. Wide receivers got Jacoby Myers and Michael Pittman Jr. But not quite
And he's
liking
got
the.
I mean, but both of his quarterbacks have unfavorable matchups. Daniel Jones on the road in Jacksonville in outdoors, and then Patrick Mahomes at home against the Texans. So who have suddenly who shut down the Bills and the Colts each of the last 2 weeks. So he's going to have to figure out what he wants there. He of course has the wide receiver advantage in this one, and then it appears as though Amon St. Brown is not going to play, so it could be a big break for Natale in this one.
Mm. Yeah, honestly, Lucas. I mean, what's his name? Casey's the last person I want to play right now.
Yeah, I mean, but his first round pick in the draft is unlikely to play. So and his tight end who he has a top 10 running back and a top 10 tight end both on the bye this week. So you looks like you caught a break and you have a big advantage right there.
Yeah, but yeah, it depends if my players perform though. I got a lot of players were doo-doo last week for me.
Yeah, I mean, and now you got Ashton Genty going up against Denver. You got you have you're hoping for a bounce back from a Mika Buka. But the other good news you have, Natale, is that you have Chris Olave to put in at wide receiver. Thanks to the trade we made.
Yep. Yeah, that panned out. Yeah, it didn't really matter in the wins, but Olave got 4 points more than Robinson.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
And
look who I got waiting in the wings at the bottom, just in case.
it's
I
yeah,
got a secret weapon on the way.
yeah. You have Amari and Hampton, but so
Yeah.
but the question is how much is he going to play, and he's
Mm-hmm.
and because Vidal has done such a good job recent days, are they going to ease
Yeah.
him in? So I think that is the big thing, but. So, but if the Chargers decide to throw him back in on a regular
Yeah.
workload, that's gonna be a major boost for
Yeah.
you
Yep.
going forward, and make your team one of the more dangerous teams in the
Yeah.
in our league playoffs.
Yeah. But if Hampton's ruled out again, I'm definitely starting Vidal because right now the current plan is for me probably to put one of those guys in instead of Marvin Harrison. Marvin Harrison probably will not be playing from what we've been told so far.
Yeah, but I mean Marvin Harrison Jr. did play last
Yeah.
week, and he had 6 catches for 69. So
But yeah, he got injured
so
again, so we'll see.
yeah. Yeah, he
Yeah.
had the heel injury, so we'll have to see
Yeah.
about that. But
Yeah.
so, but
I'm not
if yeah, but if he does play, he definitely someone I would consider starting. So
yeah. I'm a
I,
little scared to start Genty. I'm a little scared to start Genty because of Broncos defense. But he did score
but
a touchdown against them last time.
yeah, and I mean that was the only touchdown for the Raiders in that game. But yeah, but he had a 24-point performance against Cleveland and just 12 points against the Chargers. Although he does have 20 receptions over his last
Mm-hmm.
3 games. So
Yeah.
he's been cooking on the PPR front. So
Yeah.
at least you have that.
Yep.
And
All right,
so now,
Tim, your
hold
matchup.
on. Oh yeah, we're going into my matchup, and looks like David is really going to have to do some reassessing with his team. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players on the bye.
Uh, and because it's the Patriots, and the Patriots are on the bye this week, so. But
Right.
I mean, both of you are eliminated from postseason contention anyway. So
So basically, we're just playing for bragging rights in this, at least in this matchup, anyway.
Yeah.
and looking for potential seeding in the consolation bracket. So
Right.
but we'll still look at the numbers anyway. Dak Prescott, that he's projected 20.3. You got Rasheed Rice. You got, although he does have a tough matchup against the Houston Texans. We'll have to. So Aaron Jones is definitely questionable. So that means are we going to see more of a Jordan Mason type of game? We'll see. But if Aaron Jones is in, you'll definitely probably want to start him against Washington's porous run defense that just gave up a lot to RJ Harvey on Sunday night. So we got that. Then Jake Ferguson, Jameson Williams. It would have been perfect for you if you were still in the race, because he's lining up to be the number 1 receiver for the Lions on Thursday night. But unfortunately for you, Tim, it's just not enough. So
Right. So me and David just playing for pride.
Yep.
yeah. So could this be a potential semifinals preview in our fantasy league?
Oh, well, let's just see. Now, in their previous matchup, they met in week 5, and Andrew won that one by a score of 120.78 to 109.84. This time, right now, the projected total is 151.3 with Lucas and Andrew at 126. And take a look at these matchups here. Let's see. Derrick Henry against the Steelers. I could see I could see good numbers from Derrick Henry because of course that Steeler defense is just kind of, I guess you could say, what word am I looking for? Discombobulated, I guess. And it looks like Lucas's side is very good. Herbert, of course, questionable. Still with that non-throwing hand injury you got there, but he's going up against a Philly team. Not only does he have Herbert, but he also has the Chargers defense special teams on his lineup here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, it looks like CJ Stroud projected at 16.7, DK Metcalf at 12.2. Going up against that tough Raven defense there. So hopefully Andrew can make some adjustments here. Have a look at that. Chris Common gets to one side. Trey McBride, maybe, but that Rams defense is one of the best in the league right there. Rams are probably one of the best teams in the NFC right now. I mean, they've been doing it with not much sizzle, but a whole lot of substance, and that's what really counts right there. So, looking down at his bench players, he's got two of those on the bye, so he won't have to worry about them. So we'll just have to see what happens in that matchup. Next, let's go. Where are we going now? Adam and Dino. They met back in week 4. Alex and you're looking at Adam and Dino. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Previous matchup was back in week 3 where Dino took that one 139-14 to 133-32. Right now, Dino is projected at 140.1, Adam at 122.3. And it looks like most of the check marks are, of course, over on Dino's side of the board. He's got some good numbers, projections for his running backs and his wide receivers there, and his flex as well. Josh Allen has a pretty good matchup against Cincinnati this week, provided he stays healthy in this one. And Travis Kelce, averaging 13-7, but only projected at 10-1, going up against the Houston defense right there. And Adam has two bench players on the bye, so he won't have to worry about them. So that's pretty much how that matchup goes. And let's take a look at Alex. Okay, Alex Cobb against Flynn. They abandoned week 4 with Alex winning that one 163-48 to 136-58. Right now in this matchup, Alex is projected at 126.4. And Flynn is projected at, my favorite radio station around here, 101.9.
Yeah.
That station plays a lot of 70s and 80s music.
So,
yeah. Anyway, going down the board on the startings here. Looks like Flynn's got 2 players on the bye this week.
Yeah, and the question, I mean, because I have nothing to play for, so the question is, so do I not put anybody in, because just to make some drama between Natalia and Casey, but we'll have to see.
I ain't gonna touch that. That is your thing. You do what you want to. It's your team. It's your squad.
I already have the seed locked in, so we'll see. So if I decide to make changes,
so you could be basically abducted by aliens this week, and it won't harm you.
Right.
So, and of course, on Alex's side, good with his quarterback, his two running backs. Got Waddle in there going up against Jets. Got Bowers, Brock Bowers against the Broncos. I'm not sure about that one there. Eagles defense going up against the offense for the Chargers. That'll be interesting to see.
I mean that's gonna be an interesting matchup because the Chargers didn't have a pass rush to worry about and like that's why they were able to win so convincingly without their two tackles. It's a much different case this week against the Eagles. So we'll see how that factors in terms of sack numbers, trying to force takeaways. We'll see how that pans out for the Eagles defense. So that could be a favorable matchup for Putnam.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's basically how that looks here. Yeah, Flynn, like you said, you got one on the bye and empty spot. So, yeah, I probably wouldn't worry about doing anything. You've already got the number one seed, so you can just cruise the rest of the way until the playoffs get here. So yeah, we have some hot topics to talk about. First of all, I would like to give a huge congratulations to Josh Allen. Many people may not heard this, but he just broke Cam Newton's record of most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback.
Yes, he did.
But that's all I've got to say about that. But anyway, nice job, Josh Allen. And so what else do we have here? Oh yes, it looks like I don't know if it's going to help anyway, but it looks like the Pittsburgh Steelers have cut their quarterback Darius Slay, but on the flip side of that, they decided to sign the recently released Adam Thielen.
Yeah, you know what that means.
Yeah, I know. They got. I mean, I gotta make a new one because he's wearing an old uniform. But go ahead and play it anyway.
All right, new uniform. We'll see. We'll see what it is.
Hookah shaka, hookah, hookah, hookah shaka, hookah, hookah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know that picture's outdated. I'll have to update that pretty soon. Provided that if he stays in Pittsburgh or whatever he wants to do at the end of this season. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm starting to think that this is probably the beginning of the end of Mike Tomlin's time in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder aloud if he does get if he does say let go of Pittsburgh, if he needs to change the scenery from there. So like it's like I definitely could see him shoot to the leader the leader of the clubhouse to be the next head coach of the New York Giants because with some with an apparatus in place there. So we'll see how that pans out. But man, the Steelers have been so inconsistent. Like I didn't expect them to be to have not only lose to Buffalo but a pathetic no show on Sunday, and it felt like rock bottom for the Steelers.
All right.
Oh yeah, definitely, exactly. So we'll just have to see what happens. Of course, the noise in that stadium was pretty loud and pretty deafening when they were chanting the "Fire Tomlin" chants there. So yeah, we'll just have to see what happens from here on out. If he can do anything to salvage his job there, or if it's maybe too little, too late.
Yeah, and he's never had a losing season with Pittsburgh, but he's very much at risk of that this year.
Yeah, pretty much so. Um, so I don't really see
I,
any
I, I,
real stories here, but I think John Flynn. I think Flynn, you came across one or two.
I see, yeah, I think there was a big an interesting one regarding the Panthers running back situation. Because Regal Dowdle has kind of taken a step back in production the last couple of weeks, and now we're starting to see a rise again in Chuba Hubbard. So if we pull up the Panthers numbers, in their surprise victory against the Rams, that I did not see that one coming, but the Panthers defense forced three turnovers in that one. So Chuba Hubbard had 17 carries for 83 yards and 124 all-purpose yards and a touchdown, while Rico Dowdle had 18 carries for 58 yards and 21 receiving yards on 2 catches. So and Chuba Hubbard in his last suddenly got a burst of touches that this week. So this kind of means, though, you think that it's going to be hard to start or to trust the Panthers running backs in fantasy in the league playoffs because they're not because I mean, I say playoffs because they're not playing this week on the bye. So while G brings it up and say what's the Hubbard's value? Right now, I think he's kind of at best a flex option. Maybe he's an RB2 in a 12-team league. Don't you guys think? Right now, I feel like that's what his ceiling is.
Yeah, pretty much. That's like a what was that? Like a one A, 1B type of running back situation right now. Almost a 50-50 split.
Yeah, which is not the situation you want any of your running backs to be. But the Panthers have been running the ball effectively in the games that they've won. So
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, Super Hubbard's coming back up. Rico Dowdle kind of sliding a little bit. Maybe.
oh yeah,
I don't know how to call it.
yeah, and yeah. But I mean, looking at some of the better performances from tight ends this week. And would you look at this? We got Brenton Strange back. I mean, I said Brenton Strange was a deep sleeper and could possibly be a league winner. Well, 2 weeks ago he came back from injury, and he posted his 2 best numbers of the season the last 2 weeks. He had 5 catches for 93 yards against Arizona, and 3 catches of 45 yards and a touchdown on the road in Tennessee. So if you have Brenton Strange, I think because Brenton Strange was the recommendation for a waiver wire claim. I mean, I claimed him on waivers in 3 of my leagues, and that could possibly be a league winner. So, I feel like Jacksonville's offense is better when he's involved in the game plan. So, and the Jaguars are 6-1 in games that he's played. So, so definitely a good sign for the Jaguars going forward. When Strange and there was a reason the Jaguars let Evan Ingram walk, because they knew they had something in Brenton Strange, and now he is a borderline must start the rest of the way, because he has a favorable matchup against the Colts, and the Colts are 29th in the NFL in fantasy points allowed to tight ends. Oh, and by the way, they play twice this season, including Week 17 fantasy championships. So. He has some really strong value the rest of the way, and yes, a strong narrative for Brenton Strange does work.
Yeah, it certainly does here. I'm still trying to find something to maybe we can
It's,
comment on.
and how about the Cowboys on Thanksgiving? We both of us predicted that they would upset the Kansas City Chiefs, and man, the Cowboys balled out on both sides of the ball.
Especially on the defense, especially after the trade deadline.
Yeah,
Um,
I felt like that was a character building win for the Dallas Cowboys because Dak threw that lousy looking interception right away, and the Chiefs scored a touchdown on that. But the Cowboys responded back. They tightened it. They tightened up their defense in the second quarter after the Kansas City just scored a touchdown by themselves, and they played great defense, and they did enough offensively to overcome some potential fourth quarter magic from Patrick Mahomes, and made the plays that needed to be made in order to win the game and to close out the Chiefs.
yeah, so the Cowboys get past a big test against the Eagles. Then they
Yeah,
get
yeah.
then they got past a bigger test against the Chiefs, but now they probably have the biggest test so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, because if you look at the Cowboys' schedule the rest of the way, they have the Lions, which I said will make the picks, and then they got Minnesota. They have a bad quarterback situation that feels like
Mhm.
a win. They've got the Chargers at home that feels like a win, and then they finish the season on the road against Washington that feels like a win, and then they finish the season at MetLife against the Giants. So those four feel like wins. So the Cowboys have an opportunity here to run the table here and finish 11-5-1.
And could it possibly happen that the Cowboys could snatch the division title from Philly?
Yeah, and right now Dallas has the tiebreaker over Philly. So I mean, I doubt it will be needed because Dallas has that tie. But Dallas has the better division record because Dallas is 3-1 in division, while the Eagles are 2-2 because the Eagles have split each against the Giants and the Cowboys, while the Cowboys have so while the Cowboys have beaten all have won the 3 games in division at home, and then they still have the 2 division road games the last 2 weeks of the season at Washington and then at New York.
Okay, and I want to stay. I want to stay with the Cowboys for just this one thing. Their free agent pickup from Pittsburgh. He has been a sensational, dangerous receiver. The question is, should he get signed to an extension?
Oh, I mean, I think it's crazy. I think you can use the money that could have and should have been used on Micah Parsons. You have an option for that right now because he is having a terrific season. I mean, because he already has 4 games this season of 140 or more, 130 or more receiving yards. He has in fantasy he has 4 finishes in the top 4. He is currently the second ranked wide receiver in fantasy so far this season, and he's just been playing at a high level throughout. And Pickens is the type of receiver that fits brilliantly into Brian Schottenheimer's offense in Dallas.
Yeah, yeah, I'd say we do that. If you can't give him a contract, then maybe give him the franchise tag or something like that. Maybe. I'm
It's
not
I mean
sure.
it would be hard to do that because if you do put the franchise tag, I mean because if you do put the franchise tag on Pickens, you risk the possibility of him holding out of training camp next year. Because remember
Uh,
which is what happened with Micah Parsons last year. So that's
right.
something to consider.
Yeah, that's something to think about right there. Yeah, Cowboys are really starting to be a very dangerous team right now. Riding a 3 games winning streak, heading into Detroit with a big game this Thursday night. We just have to
right?
see what happens there.
Yeah, and then as for the Lions, because and to me their defense has flunked the eye test the last couple of weeks I said because they gave up 500 yards of offense to Jameis Winston of the Giants, and then against the against the Packers that they let Jordan Love carve them up, and Jordan Love had the highest PFF rating last week among quarterbacks. His PFF grade was 92. And I thought he was great. He made some high leverage throws. He made some gutsy throws, and Jordan Love has been playing at a high level this season, and he's a big reason why and so why the Packers are where they are. He's having a terrific season. 23 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. In any other year he would be a candidate for league MVP, but who would you? I would say right now the league MVP is Drake Mays to lose. Don't you think?
I would agree. Drake May is having the kind of season that I still find it hard to believe, but the way he's been working the offense in New England and how they're pretty much going to take the division away from the Buffalo Bills this year. So, yeah.
Yeah, we still don't know how the AFC South is going to transpire because the Colts have lost each of the last 2 games against the Chiefs and the Texans. But it feels like 10, 15 years ago, where it was always the Patriots, the Colts, and the Broncos leading the divisions, and then Pittsburgh and Baltimore battling it out for in the AFC North. It feels like a tale as old as time.
Yeah, the times have changed. The times they are changing, especially in a lot of divisions here in the NFL. So things are crazy in this thing called the National Football League. Things any given Sunday or whatever, any given week, things can happen. So I think it is time to test our knowledge and test your knowledge at home. It's trivia time once again. So I have a question. I think Natale said he had a question.
Yep.
And Flynn had a question today. Yes,
Yep.
Flynn's question. In the Super Bowl era, which team defense finished with the fewest interceptions in the season?
Yeah, it's because right now the Jets defense has 0 interceptions this season. So they were breaking on. They be the first team since 1932 to have no interceptions in a season. So so in the
Wow.
Super Bowl, but one team at the Super Bowl era that finished the year with 2 interceptions in a season. So which team is that?
Team finished with the fewest interceptions in the season. That is a very, very interesting question right there. So, Natalie, let's hear your question.
Yeah, mine is going to be based on this season. So far, which running back this season has had the most lost fumbles? I'm being very specific. Lost fumbles, not fumbles in general. Fumbles that were actually lost. You know how there's like fumbles and then fumbles lost? Yeah. I'm solely based on fumbles lost. There's actually a tie between 2 people, but I'm only asking for the name of one.
Okay. Fumbles lost.
Yeah, among all the running backs this season.
Okay. Interesting question there.
Mm-hmm.
Now my question was kind of like last week. It was Thanksgiving related. So here's my question. As we all know, Lions and Cowboys pretty much have a Thanksgiving game every year. Total appearances, Lions 85 since they started their Thanksgiving back in, I think, the 40s or 50s, I can't remember. Cowboys started doing their Thanksgiving games in 1966, and since then they've had 58 appearances in Thanksgiving. Now, and they started having Thanksgiving night games in, I think, I want to say 2006
Mm-hmm.
or somewhere around that time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are two teams in the league who are tied for third place with the most appearances in Thanksgiving games. Can you name both of them?
Okay.
If you're thinking the right way, I think y'all might get this one. You might
Yeah.
get both those answers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know. I know one team that it's definitely not.
Huh.
Okay. So we'll be thinking about the answers to those questions right now. Since this is for most of us fantasy players, the final week of the regular season fantasy. Some of you are going to need a little advantage going into your final week. Some of you have playoff seedings at stake. Some of you have playoff spots that are available. So we're going to try to help you out as much as we can with starts and sits. And why don't we start with Mr. Flynn here?
Yep, there we go. Last week of the fantasy regular season, I have some suggestions for you when it comes to that regard. So my fantasy said, and this is unfortunate, because he's just coming back from injury. My sit of the week is Amari and Hampton of the Chargers, and I say that, I mean, there are two reasons why. One, I think it's going to be hard for the Eagles, against the Eagles defense. So that's definitely going to tighten up their run defense after getting spanked by the Chicago Bears. But also, for someone who was drafted highly and was considered a must start before he got hurt. Yeah, he unfortunately is could be in a handcuff situation with Kamani Vidal. So I would unfortunately think that that he'll be on, should be on the bench for you in week 14. But it would be interesting if he makes the playoffs and is able to do stuff over there. So that's yeah, that's my set of the week. My sleeper pick of this week. I'm going to go. I'm gonna. It feels like running back is kind of the theme. Also, another person I would say, because I'll probably do two for each. Another set, in my opinion, is going to be Woody. It's going to be it's going to be Woody Marks of the Houston Texans. So I don't like his matchup against Kansas City. It's a tough matchup, and the Texans offensive line, they've been playing better, so but even in the games that the Texans have won, Woody Marks has finished outside the top 25 weekly in each of the last 3 weeks, in favorable matchups against Tennessee, Buffalo, and Indianapolis. So I would definitely put him on my bench for that. Yes, so my fantasy sleepers for the week. One, I have Jordan Mason. That's if Aaron Jones isn't able to go on Sunday against Washington, which that would be a golden matchup for him, because Washington has struggled so much against the run this year. It would definitely be a matchup you definitely don't want to sleep on there. I also wouldn't sleep on Devin Neal, the running back for the New Orleans Saints, because he's got a matchup against Tampa Bay. Even though Tampa got Vita Vea back, that the Bucks have struggled against the run for most of the season. So I could definitely see Devin Neal getting some points, even with the potential return from Alvin Kamara over there. So. And of course, I have have 3 starts this week. I have a running back, a wide receiver, and tight end. So my fantasy start of the week at tight end is Brenton Strange of the Jacksonville Jaguars. So he has come back and he's in big and is given a boost for Trevor Lawrence's offense. Trevor Lawrence has looked better the last couple of weeks thanks to having his third year tight end back in the starting lineup and being and producing there. In terms of wide receivers, I think an easy one is Jameson Williams because he's going up against the Cowboys, and I feel like that game is going to be a shootout. So with that, he's definitely my must start of the week at wide receiver, and then at running back, my start of the week is Breece Hall of the Jets because Breece Hall has been playing better in recent weeks because he's been a top 24 fantasy finisher in 4 of the last 5 weeks. He just ran for a touchdown last week against Atlanta, and now he's got a much better match, a pretty favorable matchup against the Miami Dolphins coming up on Sunday. So yes, so my starts of the week are Bijan Robinson, Jameson Williams, and Brenton Strange. Wait, hold on.
All right. Very, very helpful information there. Natale, let's hear what you've got for us.
Sure. Yeah, I kind of took a 1A, 1B approach with my starts of the week, and I'm taking both. I'm liking both of the Bears running backs here. Both DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai. Yeah, Kyle Monangai I think is very intriguing because he's had 4 consecutive games with double-digit fantasy points, and he got a touchdown in each of those 4 games as well. And DeAndre Swift also had a touchdown in the last game. And yeah, considering they're playing the Packers, one of the most popular rivalries in all the sports, and yeah, I could definitely see both of them getting a touchdown and what I could see in a slugfest matchup here. My sleeper pick for this week, like Flynn, it's going to be a Saints player, not the running back, but it's going to be a wide receiver, Devontae Volley. He's a pretty intriguing option because you don't know how Olave has some injury concerns. He was questionable last week, but he played through a back injury. So he didn't really have the most flashy numbers this past week. So should Olave get less targets potentially, he could possibly have this Volley guy as a nice filler. And my sit of the week this week is going to be Jordan Addison of the Minnesota Vikings. Yeah, he's had a horrendous season. He hasn't had double-digit fantasy numbers in quite some time. And sure, yeah, Washington is bad too, but this is going to be an ugly game for all the wrong reasons. This is going to be a low-scoring game, and especially with an undrafted quarterback at the realm now, you don't know what you're going to get from him. So I would be wary of starting any Minnesota Vikings wide receivers for that matter. Even Jefferson, I'd be worried about. I mean, sure, Jefferson will probably get some decent numbers here, but Addison, extremely unlikely. Hawkinson, extremely unlikely. So I would avoid all Vikings wide receivers, with the exception to Justin Jefferson. But even he might have a rough game. So there you go. The recap: I would start any of the Bears running backs as a late flyer, Devontae Volley, and sit Jordan Addison.
Very nice. Very nice.
All right, so Tim, you have yours.
Well, I have one start and I have one sit, but with my start, I would go ahead because, well, namely, I have Zay Flowers as a start for this week, but you could pretty much start any type of wide receiver you have for the Ravens. I mean, their opponents this week, the Steelers, I see that they've allowed the most yards against any wide receivers They have allowed 2,061 yards against wide receivers, and that's not good, especially with that discombobulated Steeler defense that the Ravens will be going up against this week. So I put Zay Flowers in. He's only had 9 out of 10 games with at least 50 yards catching. I mean, he did almost 150 receiving in the very first week. His numbers have been pretty good, not as good as they have been, but I can see Zay Flowers' numbers get up there a little bit more this week against the Steelers right there. As far as my sit is concerned, I probably sit Aranda Gaston, the tight end for the Chargers here. He's only been averaging maybe 2 receptions each game and about maybe 30 yards each game, and he hasn't really caught a touchdown since the 8th week of the season. And I expect that to continue this week because they're going up against the Chargers, going up against an Eagle defense that's pretty much allowed the third fewest fantasy points per game against tight ends. So I would start Zay Flowers or basically any receiver with the Ravens, and I'd probably sit Aranda Gaston and maybe receivers, especially since Herbert has that injury with his non-throwing arm, but it may affect him this week. So we just have to see what happens there. So that's who I got for starting to see it. And with that, we will go now into our picks for week 14. And before we do, I know somewhere Dashy's going to be watching. He's going to be mentioning this, so I'm going to mention too. We have 4 teams on the bye this week, and those teams are the New England Patriots, New York Jets, or New York Giants, actually, San Francisco 49ers, and the Carolina Panthers. So
yep, I mean, so that means Christian McCaffrey, Wandale Robinson, Theo Johnson, Drake May, Stephon Diggs, Travion Henderson, Tedor McMillan, Rico Dowdle, Chuba Hubbard. Those guys are all on the bye this week. So.
All right, so with that being said, we're going to go straight into our picks, starting with the Thursday night game, which features the Dallas Cowboys and the Detroit Lions. And the Lions are going to be starting at their 3-point favorites right now. And we talked a little bit about the Lions and a little bit about the Cowboys earlier. So, Flynn, I want to hear from you first about this particular matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Cowboys in this one. I think the Cowboys are playing some great football on both sides of the ball, and since we last last saw, Frank Ragnar had failed his physical because he apparently had a grade 3 hamstring strain. So he is out, and the Lions are banged up with injuries. So all across the all across the board here. I mean, because Amon St. Brown, Khalif Raymond, their starting center is out. So I think I think the Lions are cooked. So I'm picking the Cowboys to win this game. I think it's gonna be a fun one, 31-28 over the Lions.
Ooh. Yeah.
All right. Charlie, what do you guys say?
Yeah, actually, believe it or not, I'm actually with Flynn on this one because the Lions are not looking good. That could possibly be in danger of missing the postseason. So coming into this, who would have thought the Bears would be division leaders and number 1 seed? Who saw this coming? Really, that is freaking incredible. Lions are in 3rd place right now. 1 or 2 more losses, it's probably over. Yeah. Cowboys defense is improving a little bit here. And I think they're the healthier piece right now. even if Amon-Ra St. Brown somehow ends up playing, I don't think it's going to make a difference. I mean, but the only thing is here, I don't see it as a high-scoring game. I see more on the lower side. I'm going to go the Cowboys as well by a score of 24-21.
All right, yeah, I pretty much agree with everything you said. My final score is so extremely close to Flynn. So close. I've got the Cowboys winning this one 31-27. Both offenses are going to shine in this one. Uh, Detroit's defense a little bit banged up. The Cowboys defense has been improved ever since that trade deadline. I guess this trade worked out just fine. I mean, for some reason, before the trade, when Michael was still with the Cowboys, they couldn't do anything. Now they got these guys they brought in, and the guys that have come back from injury, and now they are like one of the top 5 or top 10 defenses in the league right now. So give me Dallas by a score of 31-27. And with that, we are going to go now to the Sunday 1 o'clock matchups. Starting in Atlanta, the Falcons are home against the Seattle team that will be coming in at 7-point favorites. And I'm telling you right now, I think this may sound crazy, it may not, but the best wide receiver in the league is JSN, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
He is a serious baller. He is going to do some serious damage to that Falcons defense. I mean, Bijan Robinson, I think, will probably not even break. Probably won't. We might get between 50 and 75 yards because it's going to be tough to get 100 against that Seattle defense. I'm just going to call it right here. I'm going to take Seattle over Atlanta. Let's call it 28-20. Seattle wins and covers.
Thanks. Flynn, you go next on this one.
Yeah, this is the best bet of the week. I love Seattle to win. I think Seattle's going to destroy the Atlanta Falcons. And look, the way the Falcons botched the end of that game against the Jets, I mean, it is in the theater of the absurd. They gave up a rushing touchdown with less than 2 minutes left. They couldn't drive down the field to kick a winning field goal, and then Nick Folk kicks a 56-yard field goal. The longest game-winning field goal in Jets history on Sunday to beat the Falcons in the rain, in the rain and in the wind at the Meadowlands. So talk about the absurdity there. But I gotta tell you that this Seattle defense is humming, and Kirk Cousins is the quarterback. So yeah, and Kirk has been fried for a while, and if you couldn't beat the Jets, I mean, what are we supposed to do here? So I've got Seattle winning this game 33-14, and this is my lock of the week.
Ooh.
Nice. Yeah, I'm pretty much going to. Yeah, I'm pretty much going to make this unanimous. I do see the Seahawks winning in this one, but I'm actually going to say that they're just barely going to cover this one. I think the Falcons are going to make it interesting a little bit with Bijan Robinson getting a couple touchdowns, but it's not going to matter. They're going to cover the spread. They're going to. I wrote down they win by exactly 7 points, 31-24.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're all going with Seattle on this one. Next, we have the Buffalo Bills. They're at home against the Cincinnati Bengals. Bills are 5.5-point favorites. And I think 5.5 is a little bit low. I mean, after what Buffalo did to Pittsburgh last week, There is no telling what they can do against those Bills. I mean, this is going to be one tough game for Cincinnati going against that great Josh Allen and going against that Bills offense, which is pretty darn good. I'm taking Buffalo over Cincinnati by a score of 27-13.
Yeah, I'm also gonna take Buffalo here. This is pretty much the Bills' last chance to get things right. They're also in danger of missing the playoffs for probably the first time since like 2012, 13, something like that. Yeah, this elite franchise. Yeah, this elite franchise is in trouble, and yeah, if they lose to the Bengals, this is an embarrassment for the franchise. The Bills should be able to beat them pretty easily here. I have them winning this one 28-20.
I'm grabbing the point with the Cincinnati Bengals, guys, because again, I think Buffalo's going to win. I think Josh Allen is going to have has a good matchup against the dreadful Bengals defense. But that Bills Steelers game was all about Pittsburgh and their embarrassment on Sunday. And look, Cincinnati has Joe Burrow back, and the Bengals are a better team. Obviously, when Joe Burrow is a starting quarterback, I mean, so Joe Burrow's undefeated this year. So I think Cincinnati is going to be in this. I think Chase Brown's going to have a big game. I think Jamar Chase is going to have a big game against the Bills defense that isn't as good as they think they are. So it's going to be a competitive game, but I think Josh Allen is going to turn into Superman and lead the Bills to victory. I have them winning by a score of 31-28. Actually, 33-30 is my final score pick for this game.
Interesting there. All right. Now we go to one of my favorite rivalries in the NFL. It is the Steelers and the Ravens. That will be in Baltimore, and the Ravens have a 5. Ravens are picked by 5.5. So Flynn, what do you see in this Pittsburgh-Baltimore matchup here?
I mean, I really want to grab the points with Pittsburgh because I don't think Lamar Jackson is healthy, but I think the Steelers are broken. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is turned into a pumpkin. He hasn't been efficient. The Ravens actually have healthy dudes on defense again, and I thought that Cincinnati Baltimore game was more about the Bengals' ability to win games with Burrow, and I think this is going to be and Baltimore coming off a loss. I mean, you don't want to face Lamar Jackson coming off a loss, so yeah, I'm gonna pick Baltimore to win this game. Now, I do think this is gonna be a running type of game for the Baltimore Ravens. And Pittsburgh really is having trouble running the football. So and the Steelers only scored 7 points against the defense that wasn't great, but I trust Baltimore more. They have a better roster. I'm picking the Ravens to win this game 24-13.
Yeah, division rivalries here can be very tough to call. Yeah, who would have thought that this division was messy? I believe. Wait, correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't the Ravens in first place with a 6-6 record?
Let me see. So officially Pittsburgh. Officially Baltimore's in first place in the division.
Yeah. Oddly enough, yeah. Somehow, despite the Ravens' mess, they're in first place with a 6-6 record. Could they potentially win the division with a record under 500? That remains to be seen. But yeah. Jackson's hurt. The Steelers' offense is all over the place. Their defense is doing all right. They're hanging in there. I'm actually going to grab the points here with this one. This is not my point spread game of the week, though. I'm saving another one for later. But yeah, Pittsburgh's going to keep it interesting at the end. But in the end, Lamar Jackson's going to prevail. His legs is going to make the difference here. He'll probably get a rushing touchdown, I suppose. So give me the Ravens to take this one 27-25.
Oh, that's a pretty close one there. I got a feeling that those Fire Tomlin chants is going to be just a little bit louder this week. Since they are playing against the Ravens. And, yeah, I see the Ravens prevailing over this one. This is just going to make that very discombobulated defense in Pittsburgh just that much worse. I'm taking the Ravens to win and cover, giving the Ravens 30-20. Yeah, that bad man's just going to have another bad day. Now, with that, we go now to the Cleveland Browns at home against the Tennessee Titans. And this one, Cleveland comes in at 4-point favorites. Glenn, this is an ugly game. In fact, this is so ugly. This is my garbage game of the week. This is just so ugly. So.
Yeah, is it yours too, Natale?
It almost was. I was tempted to do it, but I've already used the Browns and the Titans before, so it was like 51-49. I had to tip the scale, but this one was my runner-up. I do have a different one in mind, though.
Yeah, but I'm playing this for both myself and Timmy. Yeah, so what do you
Oh, I don't know. I mean, you got Cleveland, who right now holds the record of 3-9. Then you got Tennessee, who is at 11-1, and pretty much on their way to clinching the number one pick in the draft. This is just it's just so ugly here. I just had to throw out a score. I mean, I believe Shedeur Sanders can probably redeem himself, especially against a team like maybe the Titans. So I'm just going to make this short. I'll take Shedeur Sanders and the Browns over those Titans by scoring 23-17.
Yeah, go ahead, Flynn.
I mean, I mean, Shedeur. I mean, I was right on Shedeur Sanders. He turned back into a pumpkin. So last I knew that performance against the Raiders was a joke. 2 weeks ago because of the short passes turning for touchdowns, and he still is not a starting quarterback to me in the NFL. So by default. I'm taking the team with the better quarterback. I'm taking Cameron Ward and the Titans to win this game. I have them winning this game by a score of 17-14.
Yeah, this one I couldn't really decide on. I had to go like back and forth on this. And as the old saying goes, yeah, when in doubt, just pick the home team. I hate to do it. I think the Titans are better on paper, but just by default, I'm picking the home team. I have the Browns. I don't feel good about it. This was my runner up for garbage game of the week. So I have a tiny score here too of 21-16.
Okay, so we go from that game and we go to another matchup here. This one in the AFC South Division. The Jaguars are home against the Colts, and the Colts are coming in at 1.5 point favorites. And usually this is one of those games when in doubt, go with the home team. But the thing is, in the last 10 or 15 years, the Jags have pretty much owned the Colts.
Yeah,
So,
especially in at home.
especially at home. So, I'm just going to go ahead, take the Jags over the Colts. This will be a close game. 27-24. I'm taking the Jags.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one, Tim. The Jaguars look like the healthier team right now. You have Daniel Jones is playing through an injury. Yeah, he hasn't been the same since he was in the beginning of the season. And yeah, their wide receiving core is wishy washy right now. You don't know what you're going to get from Alec Pierce or Josh Downs or even Michael Pittman Jr. I mean, their defense is doing all right. They're hanging around, but yeah, right now, yeah, the Jaguars look healthy. Lawrence is back to his old self. He's slowly getting back to the thick of things. So yeah, I have the Jaguars winning this one 26-20.
I mean, I can't stress enough how much I love the Jacksonville Jaguars to win this game. I mean, again, as I mentioned, the Jaguars are 6-1 when Brenton Strange plays, and Brenton Strange is one of my starts of the week. Sure, Trevor Lawrence is a better quarterback when Brenton Strange is involved, and I think the Colts look bad. They lost at home to the Houston Texans last week, and if you look at Jacksonville is a little banged up on their defensive line, but they can still get to the quarterback, and I'm gonna pick the Jaguars to win this game. Also, another underrated start to consider is Brian Thomas Jr. I think he's going to have a good game as well. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Jaguars to win this game. But I have them winning by double digits. Jags 24-13 over the Colts.
Wow. All right, and now we go. Next game, we have the Washington Commanders against the Minnesota Vikings. Game at U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis. Vikings are coming in at 1.5 point favorites. Two teams that have quarterback problems, but for slightly different reasons. One is hurt, and the other is just bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I got a feeling here that again, can't pick a winner, go with the home team. So even though J.J. McCarthy is bad, I just don't quite think he is the kind of quarterback that the Vikings are looking for right now. But I got a feeling that they might pull this off slightly over the Commanders. I'll take the Vikings over the Commanders 27-23. It's going to be close.
Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to cut to the chase and say this game ended up being my garbage game of the week.
Ah, okay. So it's Vikings.
Yeah, I don't like this matchup at all for both teams. Yeah, you got the aging Marcus Mariota facing off against an undrafted quarterback. So you definitely don't know what you're going to get from either of these guys. Both of these teams are such a mess. The defense is a mess for both teams. The offense is a mess for both teams. This has low scoring written all over it. I'm just going to pick the Vikings to win this one 17-14.
Yeah, I'm taking the Minnesota Vikings. I think the Vikings are the better team here. And two things to consider. One, the Vikings have faced so the rankings of defensive EPAs of the teams they faced over the last 4 weeks. So the Vikings faced the 6th, 9th, 12th, and 1st ranked defenses in defensive EPA. Washington is ranked 32nd and last. So you go from facing great defenses to facing the worst defense in the league. So I'm gonna take the Vikings here to win this game. If Aaron Jones isn't able to go, I expect a big game for Jordan Mason. I think you could look at a good game from Justin Jefferson. So I'm actually in disagreement here with Natale for this specific week because of who they're facing, and considering how Washington play what happened with Washington on Sunday night, they said they went into overtime against the Broncos, but we didn't talk about that. It was a crazy finish last week with Denver and Washington, but that Washington Denver game had 160 snaps in it. Washington is going to come in tired. So I think Minnesota is going to take advantage of it and pounce and win this game by a score of 21-14.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now we are going to go to MetLife Stadium where the Jets are going to be at home against the Dolphins coming in. And the Dolphins will be coming in at 3-point favorites. And well, it seems like the script has been flipped ever since the Dolphins finally got rid of their general manager, Chris Greer. It just seems like things are going. It seems like things are going better their way. I don't know how much better, but they're doing all right. They're going up against a Jets team, which, well, the Jets are the Jets. I mean, Jets do Jets things. That's what I would say. Jets just end the season. I'm seeing Miami winning and covering this thing. Give me the Dolphins over the Jets, 27-20.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in agreement here. And yeah, man, I think that Jets last win was a fluke. And the Dolphins are looking better, but unfortunately it came too little too late. Will Mike McDaniel be fired? We'll see. I mean, there's a potential he might have saved his job because I think they have back-to-back wins if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, they're streakingly looking better for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah. I mean it's going to go back and forth, but I think in the end, Devon Achane is going to get the game-winning touchdown, which is going to propel the Dolphins to win their to get this one 23-18. And for A Pizzle, fins up, baby.
Pizzle, if you're watching out there.
I'm picking the Jets to win this game, guys. So because look, there are two reasons why. One, I'm kind of inspired. The Jets have kind of played some decent football over since their bye week. I'm not gonna lie. It's actually been hasn't been that bad. And second of all, it's Tua Tagovailoa in 34-degree weather, and that's a recipe for disaster. Tua Tagovailoa is 0-8 in his career in games where the temperature is 45 degrees or colder. He is not a cold weather quarterback. And then as for the Jets, I think the Dolphins are a pedestrian team, and they had the gift of the Saints over the weekend, and they barely beat them. If it wasn't for that 2-point conversion foul up, so that the Dolphins would have lost that game. So yeah, I think the Jets are going to beat Miami here. I have them winning this game by a score of 21-12.
Interesting right there, to say the least. We have an NFC South matchup. Tampa Bay is at home at 8.5-point favorites against the visiting New Orleans Saints.
Yeah. I think this is going to be an ugly game. Also, yeah, both teams here are banged up. Surprisingly, Baker Mayfield played better than I thought he would this last game. I got to give him some credit for that. I ended up sitting him in my league, and boy, was that a bad decision. Somehow he played all right. He did get a touchdown pass, which I didn't think he was going to do. But then on the other side, yeah, the Saints also have their share of problems. And, yeah, Alvin Kamara still might not be able to play. His fill-in, he's done okay. He hasn't really done anything flashy. I'm also going to grab the points here in this one, but this one is also not my point spread game of the week. With the battle of the divisions here, I got to give the Saints some slack here. They're banged up. The Bucs is also banged up. Give me another somewhat low-scoring affair here, 25-19. Give me the Bucks to win, but the Saints to cover.
Yeah, we're sharing the same brain on this, Natalia. I'm grabbing the points with the New Orleans Saints. So it's because I'm just concerned about the Bucks' ability to stop the run because that's been their bread and butter. During this 5+ year stretch where they've played some great football, all in all, but yeah, I think the Bucks are the better team, but also remember the Bucks have Atlanta and 2 games against Carolina coming up later in the season. So so those games are gonna those 2 Carolina games are gonna decide who's gonna win the division and the NFC South representative in the playoffs. So that's a big game for there, but we want to see, like you mentioned, Natale, is Baker Mayfield gonna be ready 100% for this? So I'm gonna grab the point for the Saints, but I'm gonna pick the Bucks to win by a score. I have 21-17.
All righty then. We are now going to go to Sin City, where the Broncos are going to be coming in at 7.5-point favorites against the Las Vegas Raiders. Denver, I think now Denver is in control of the AFC West, and the Chiefs are slipping and sliding. Chargers trying to hold on. Raiders, they don't have a chance in this one. This is kind of the very. This is almost darn near unfair, you know. So I'm just going to make this short and sweet. I am taking the Denver Broncos over those Las Vegas Raiders by a score of 28-13, and the Broncos are my lock this week.
Yeah,
lock them up, baby.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% of the way, Tim. So yeah, no need to play it twice. This was also my pick for lock of the week as well. Yeah, the Broncos are a supreme team right now. They got everything going on offense. They got everything going on defense. Yeah, this game is going to be, I think, kind of similar to how they played each other last time. I think the Raiders are only going to get 1 touchdown, probably 2 tops. The rest of it is going to be a bunch of field goals and stuff. So yeah, give me the Broncos to win this one, 30-21.
I'm grabbing the points with the Raiders. Now, don't misinterpret. I'm going to pick Denver to win. Don't get me wrong, but remember, like Washington, Denver's coming off a game where they had to exhaust every resource into beating a 3-8 Commanders team, and for all the winning ways for the Broncos, the Broncos have trailed in each of the 9 games that they won at one point. So so they have been sloppy at times. So with that in mind, I remember the last time that the 2 teams played, it was the Broncos only won by a field goal at home. So I kind of sense Denver is kind of fraudulent for a 10-2 team. So I don't think they'll lose this week. But it will be interesting though how they match up against a team like Jacksonville or a team like the Patriots in the playoffs. So I'm going to pick the Broncos to win 21-16. So I'll grab the points here with the Raiders.
All right. Now we got the Los Angeles Rams heading into Arizona, taking on the Cardinals. The Rams are 8.5-point favorites, and yeah, this is going to be an interesting matchup. But this is not my point spread game of the week, but I am going to barely take the points with Arizona. Rams, Matthew Stafford did a great job. Puka Nacua, one of the best receivers in the league. Nicola Masada, what a wonderful phrase. And Arizona, hopefully Kyler Murray has not gotten his head too much into Call of Duty because they got a big one coming up with the Rams here. So yeah, I'm barely going to take the points with Arizona, but I'm taking the Rams to win 27-20.
Yeah, the Rams were my lock of the week last time, and oh boy, that turned out to be an epic disaster. So yeah, now I think the Rams are going to be looking for revenge here, especially in a rivalry game. I mean, Cardinals have nothing to play for at this stage; they're already eliminated from contention. I was originally going to take the Cardinals to cover the spread, but now with Marvin Harrison Jr. potentially being ruled out, they're going to be down a receiver. So yeah, that makes the advantage for the Rams significantly greater. So I'm gonna give the Rams a few more points, and I'm gonna take back the coverage I initially gave the Cardinals. So I think now the Rams are going to win and cover 33-22.
Yeah, I'm picking the Rams too. I mean, I don't think he's going to throw 2 interceptions and have a lost fumble in a game against the this time around. I think this is going to be a bounce back performance for Stafford, Nakua, and Adams and company for the Rams. So this Cardinals defense has been dreadful all year, and yeah, and it's honestly shouldn't be surprising. I totally whiffed on Arizona being the Cinderella team in the NFL this year. That did not turn out to be the case at all whatsoever. So, but the one thing I will say is that the game script in this one for Arizona could be similar to the one against San Francisco a few weeks ago, where Jacoby Brissett threw the ball 59 times. So could this mean big fantasy outputs for Trey McBride and Michael Wilson? That remains to be seen, but something to monitor in this game. So I'm going to pick the Rams to win this game though by a score of 38-24.
All right, and now probably one of the big games of the week here. We're now going to. Well, it might be frozen. That tundra might be frozen by this time right now at Lambeau Field. It's the longest rivalry in NFL history. Chicago Bears at Green Bay Packers, and the Packers come into this one at 6.5. Yeah, the Packers kind of holding on to a playoff spot, but Chicago is still first place in the division, and I think they have the tiebreaker. They're currently, if I read it correctly, and Flynn, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but the Bears are the top seed in the NFC.
Yes, the Bears are the number 1 seed in the NFC with a record of 9-3, and the Packers are 8-3-1. Because remember they had that tie earlier in the season against the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. That game damn near gave me a heart attack. But usually when the Bears go into Green Bay usually takes care of them pretty soundly. And I'm going to take, and that's at Green Bay, I'm taking the Packers to win. But this is my point spread game of the week. I'm taking the points with the Bears. I'm going to go ahead and do that here. This is going to be closer than a lot of people don't think. I'm taking Green Bay. I'm taking 28-24. I'm taking the Packers in the win, but I'm taking the Bears in the points.
Yeah. Tim and I are on the same brain length here. This is also my point spread game of the week, and this is also, in general, I think out of every schedule here, I think this is also the game of the week.
Mm-hmm.
This is definitely like a must watch here. Yeah, it's definitely going to be a very back and forth game here. Yeah, I don't know how the Bears did it, but I got to give them a lot of credit. This game is going to be kind of somewhat of a slugfest, and it's going to be so close. My score is almost the same as Tim's. I just have a slight difference. I have the same number of 28, but I have the Bears getting 27. I think it's going to be that close. It's going to be a nail biter back and forth. And I think that the Bears are going to get a little hot take. The Bears are going to get the ball on the final drive, but they're going to miss a game-winning field goal attempt.
By Kyle Santos at the end.
Yeah, a missed field goal by Carlos Santos to give the Packers a victory.
That's a bold prediction right there. Listen, I'm with you guys. This is my point spread game of the week. I'm picking the Packers to win. I'm going to grab the points for Chicago, mainly because I don't like the 6.5 number in a division game like this. I think this because I think the thing about this that people don't realize is that I think the Bears have the best offensive line in pro football. That the way they were able to run the ball with Monangai and Swift against that defense, it was certainly something to behold there. Now I think it's going to be tough though with the way Jordan Love has been playing. I think he's going to play well, but. This is gonna be a tremendous game between two supremely well coached teams. I mean, you could finally say that with the Bears and Ben Johnson and Ben Johnson in any other year would be the runaway candidate for Coach of the Year. But I'm going to pick the Packers because I think their roster is slightly better than Chicago's. I'm going to take the Packers to win the game by a score of 24-20.
All righty then. Now we got the Sunday night football game. Very interesting one here. It's the Houston Texans at the Kansas City Chiefs that will be at GEHA Field at Arrowhead, and Kansas City will come in at 3.5 point favorites. The Chiefs are kind of slowly losing their grip on the division and slowly losing the grip on getting their 10th straight division title, which I feel that's slipping away because the Texans have a very, very good defense that I think could disrupt Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs have lost 3 of their last 4 games. They lost that big Thanksgiving game against my Cowboys. So, Flynn, as I would say to Alex, sound the alarm if you would.
All right.
It is going to be the Texans defense that's going to dominate this one right here. Give me the Texans over the Chiefs, but it's going to be very close. 28-26 Texans.
Oh, would you look at that right there? Yeah, look at that. Yeah, Houston is the number 1 defense. And look at this, Tim. I kid you not. If you look really closely, you probably can't see that, but I actually wrote down 28-26 also. We have the same exact score.
Oh, my goodness.
That upset special. So the Houston has the number 1 defense in the league when it comes to quarterbacks. All right, is one going to make this a triple sounder?
I'll get into the analysis before I reveal my pick. I thought this was the toughest game of the week. This was the toughest game of the week for me to pick in terms of picking a winner or loser because it's Kansas City. They're at home coming off a loss, but I think the thing here is that the Chiefs are decimated with injuries on the offensive line, and as we've seen, as we saw in Patrick Mahomes' past, when he doesn't have an elite offensive line in front of him, he's turned into a pumpkin at times, and I don't like the configuration of this Chiefs of this iteration of the Chiefs. And remember, I did pick the Houston Texans to win the division at the start of the season, because of that defense and D'Amico Ryan's a gem, and they played inspired football against the Indianapolis Colts last week. So it's gonna be tough. I think it carries over. I'm going to pick the Texans to win. I also have them winning by 2 points, but I have them winning by a score of 19-17.
Oh, a triple upset.
Triple upset special. Wow. I don't think that has ever happened before.
I have 2 upset specials, while you guys each have 1.
Right. So now we move on to the Monday night football game. It's the Philadelphia Eagles and the Los Angeles Chargers. Eagles coming in at 3-point favorites. And I'm going to tell you something. The Eagles are going to be fighting mad. I mean, the Eagles are mad as hell.
Mm.
They lost to my Cowboys, and then they lost to the Bears. And I don't know if I can see this Eagles team losing 3 games in a row. They're going against a Chargers team that's, well, they're not as discombobulated as the Steelers are, but they've got their problems too. I'm still concerned how healthy Justin Herbert is going to be able to throw the ball, even though the injury's on his other hand. And we'll be just seeing how things go with the defense here. But I'm going to go ahead and even though I despise the Eagles just as much as you guys do, I'm going to take those chickens over those Chargers by a score of 27-21.
Mm. Yeah. Despite the 3-point spread here, I'm actually going to take the Chargers with the points here. I see this being pretty close. With the emergence of O'Brien Hampton potentially on the way, we can have a nice 1A 1B punch here. That's going to keep things very close. But the Eagles are better on the offensive side. They have the better O line. They have the better receiving core, and they have the better defense too. The Chargers are definitely going to make it very, very interesting with a new offensive scheme here, assuming that Hampton plays. But even if he doesn't, I'm still going to take the Eagles to win. But I'm going to take the Chargers with the points and take the Eagles to win this one 31-29.
Yeah, this could actually be a pretty monster game for Philadelphia if Dallas wins on Thursday night, like we all think they will against the Lions because of how the NFC East race would be at that time. So I'm going to pick the Eagles to win. I still think they're the better team. They have a pass rush unlike the Raiders, and when you have the injuries that the Chargers have on the offensive line and a pass rush that can work to their favor, that can turn the Chargers offense into a pumpkin. Now the pause is that the Chargers, in spite of that, have played well at home in spite of those injuries. So that's to be seen. But the Steelers are cooked. The Raiders are cooked. But I think the Eagles are going to do just enough to win this game. I have them winning by a score of 23-16.
Alrighty then. So that's pretty much how we're looking right there. It's time to answer our trivia questions for this week. And Dashy had one. Actually, we'll get to Dashy's after we get to ours here. He had one earlier. I haven't even paid attention to everybody sending the messages, but hey, we love you guys watching. Spread the word. And we'll get to our questions now. In the Super Bowl era, which team defense finished with the fewest interceptions season?
Yeah, and I'll give you a hint. So the 2 interceptions that this team had, one of them was thrown by Philip Rivers, and the other was thrown by Josh Rosen. So that's your hint.
Well, since you said Philip Rivers, there's really only one person it can be. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I goofed. Never mind. Okay, hold the phone there. Well, actually, I'm going to go with my original gut instinct since you mentioned the team's name while you're introducing the question. So for that reason, I'm going to say the Jets.
So you're going with the Jets. So what do you think?
Yeah.
I'm just going to go out on a limb and say the Jaguars.
You're going with the Jaguars, huh? So for both of you, I can tell you that the results of your answers are
Well, you knew I was coming. You said both, so
yeah. So
got
yeah,
all the drama. You got to do it separately.
yeah, but yeah. So the correct answer is the 2018 San Francisco 49ers.
49ers.
They only had 2 interceptions all season.
Oh wow.
2018. Wow. So there's that question, and of course, Natale has a question that has something to do with
Yep.
something going on right now.
Yeah. This is based on the 2025 season. It's going to focus on running backs. Which running back has the most lost fumbles? Remember, the keyword here is lost. We're not going by fumbles in general. We're going by lost. So there's a tie for first with 2 people. Just give me one of the 2 people, and yeah, there you go.
Right, yeah. Running backs have lost the fumble this year.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'll tell you that both of the guys have 3 lost fumbles.
All right. Because I know he lost some fumbles last season, so I'm gonna guess from Andre Stevenson.
Okay.
Well.
Flynn is going to go with Ramondre Stevenson. And what do you say, Tim?
I don't know why, but the first name that came to my mind was Isaiah Pacheco.
Isaiah Pacheco. Let's see. Okay. All right, we'll start with Tim's. Tim says Isaiah Pacheco. And he's not even listed under the 25 people, so Flynn will play this.
Oh no.
Right.
The X,
Yeah.
And as for Flynn, he said Ramondre Stevenson. And with that, we got to switch to the opposite sound.
Nice.
He was one of the players with 3. Well, just for the heck of it, Flynn, let's see if you can name the other player that has 3 lost fumbles.
I remember there was an insane stat about him. Because I remember one of those was one of the biggest lost fumbles of the season. Because it was that game where the Ravens blew that big lead against the Bills. So I'm gonna go with Derrick Henry.
Good guess. Derrick Henry had 2 lost fumbles, but the other guy was Tony Pollard.
Oh,
He also had 3. But there we go. Let's try a bonus just for the heck of it. Who had the most fumbles in general? And so it's none of the players that were mentioned. Who has the most in general with 4? We'll figure out redemption question for Tim. Let's see redemption.
So the most fumbles in general.
Yeah.
So
One person has one running back has 4 fumbles this season. Technically he lost 2, but he has 4 in general.
And it's not Ramondre Stevenson, and it's not Isaiah Pacheco.
Correct.
Well, who would have that terrible of a team to I know Tennessee is a terrible team.
Yeah. We'll do a hint. It's not a terrible team, but it's a team that's playing far below expectations.
Far below their expectations.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, team.
Yeah, I believe if the playoffs started right now, this team would not be in it. That's the final clue I will give. Well, let me just make sure. Let me check the playoff bracket first. I want to make sure that I'm correct here. Oops, let me just say. I don't want to get ahead of myself. I want
Right.
to check just to make sure I'm not like messing up here. Let's see. I'm almost positive that we're not being the playoffs right now, but I just want to make sure if my laptop will cooperate with me. Oh, okay, never mind. This team would be in the playoffs, but right now they're playing far below expectations. That's the final clue I will give.
Okay.
They would be in the playoffs right now, but they're playing far below expectations right now.
But they're below expectations. Jalen Warren.
Okay, Jalen Warren. What do you say, Flynn?
If you said below playoff expectations, so it would have to be James Cook then, because it's
James Cook. Yep, you did it again, Flynn. James Cook.
James Cook. Oh my.
4 fumbles he has this season.
How many has he lost?
Wow.
How many have fumbles did he lose?
2.
All
All right, so now we got Tim's question next.
right. Yeah. So my question has to do with the. Oh my God, where did it go? Did I accidentally erase that? Well, my question had to do with teams playing on Thanksgiving. Of course, Cowboys and Detroit Lions play every year. Of course, the Lions started their tradition earlier, but there are 2 other teams that are actually tied for 3rd place with the most appearances in Thanksgiving Day games. Can you name them both?
Yeah, I might have an idea because considering it's mostly NFC dominated, I would presume it would be NFC teams. Usually, the random game comes from the AFC side, and I feel like it's going to be like division rivalries here. So it could be the Packers potentially, could be the Bears. On the other side, the Eagles maybe. I'm going to go with the Packers and the Bears.
I'm gonna go with the Cardinals. Like, didn't they host Thanksgiving games back in the day before the Cowboys came? So I'm gonna go with the Cardinals.
Oh, okay. Well, you said tie, so there's one more person. Cardinals and who?
So you mentioned the Cardinals. There said 2 teams. So Natale said the Packers and the Bears.
Yes.
And Flynn, you said the Cardinals and who else?
Oh, let's see. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs, honestly.
Chiefs. Interesting.
So Flynn, you said the Chiefs and the Cardinals.
Yep. No.
And
no.
I had to buzz you twice because both of those answers are wrong.
Oh.
For who? Flynn or me?
For Flynn.
So I got one right.
It wasn't. Actually, Natale, I could give you this here.
Oh, so half a win, I guess. Oh, wait a minute.
You
got both of them right?
You got both of them right, Natale. It was the Bears and the Packers.
Oh, and you asked that question because the 2 teams are facing each other this week, huh? Isn't that right?
I hadn't even thought of that.
Yeah.
But
I remember the Packers playing recently too. That was kind of what led me to guess that.
Let me give you this: the Bears and the Packers have made 38 appearances on Thanksgiving. Flynn, you said Arizona Cardinals. They've appeared in 23 Thanksgiving games.
It's, I'll say that as the Chicago / St. Louis / Phoenix / Arizona Cardinals.
Right. And the Chiefs have only made 11 appearances. So I think we got a little. I think we got a little bit of time left. So wait a minute. Bad Power say, wouldn't that been a good question for last week? Well, I mean, I hadn't thought of it. Like with the Bears and the Packers going against each other. I mean, like I said, I hadn't thought of that. But I think if Dashy is still here, he had a question. So I think his question was Thanksgiving related. So I guess we're going back to Bengals forced turnovers on the Ravens offense on Thanksgiving night for the first time since 2007. So named the head coach and the starting quarterback. Okay, so he's probably thinking about who are the head coaches and the starting quarterbacks for the Bengals and the Ravens in 2007.
I mean, well, I know the head coaches for both of those teams back then, so that should be
That
easy.
would be Marvin Lewis and Marvin Lewis and Jim Harbaugh.
That was the last year for Brian Billick.
Oh, Brian Billick. Oh yeah. So I'm thinking it's Marvin Lewis and Brian Billick, and the starting quarterbacks.
So, I'm trying to think. Did Carson Palmer play in that game?
Carson Palmer. Oh yeah, I think he was around that year. Yeah. Or was it Andy Dalton that year?
Definitely not Andy Dalton. Definitely not him.
Okay. I think that first one is right then. So the Ravens it might be a journeyman. I think he might. I'm trying to figure out who's like one of those journeymen. Jim, what's his name? I'm trying to think. I'm thinking of that quarterback that played for the most teams, like 14, 15 different teams. What's his name?
I think
he's still playing. What's that guy's name?
Are you thinking of Josh Johnson?
Him. That's what I'm thinking of for the Ravens. I thought he might have played for them that year. I want to say, potentially.
I think it was Carson Palmer and Joe Flacco. That's what I'm thinking of.
I don't think Joe Flacco was playing for them in 2007, though.
In 2008, he was.
Yeah.
2008 he was.
Yeah.
So
that Josh guy. I'm thinking of him for the Ravens.
Yeah. Anyway, we did not do a start or a quarterback stardom this week. So Wallace is asking us which quarterback who is your quarterback stardom pick for the week. So that's
to start a quarterback this week.
Quarterback for week 14. Let's see. Check the matchups.
I would start Jared Goff and Jordan Love. This week I would also consider starting Jacoby Brissett among the non-givens. Those three have favorable matchups.
Yeah, I'm riding with Bo Nix. I think he's gonna bounce back. He was a little bit shaky the last go around, but I think he's gonna do a lot better, especially with a dismantled Raiders defense.
Yep, that's who I was gonna say.
Yeah. So although the last time Bo Nix played the Raiders, he was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we got to bounce back. So that's what I would say. The answer was
Steve McNair. Of course.
God rest his
Steve McNair, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
It was Steven. It was Carson Palmer. It was, yeah, Marvin Lewis and Brian Billick, and then Steve McNair and Carson Palmer. Huh.
Yeah.
All
So
right. I think we got uh, maybe one real good lazy question before we head on out of here. Okay. He's got uh, he's got 12
12
man.
man.
12 man team. He's got okay. So he's got Dak,
Josh and Jonathan Taylor.
Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Kyron Williams, JSN, C.D. Lamb, Portland Sutton, Orlando Gadsden, Texans D, and Jason Myers. On the bench, he's got, would that be Christian Watson?
Christian Watson, yeah, Chris Godwin, Elijah Wilson, Blake Corum, Darren Waller, and then Reed on the IR. Anyways, I think this lineup. I think this is the perfect lineup, honestly.
I mean I would think so too, right? I think this is a loaded team. I think Gadsden has some matchups in this one. It's like I could for the Chargers. So looking at their schedule, I'm looking at potentially Kansas City, Dallas, and Houston. Weeks 15 to 17. Those are all kind of neutral matchups for tight ends. So I could see Gadsden, especially as he maybe trying to get him more involved. But it's been tough going for him recently because like the injuries to the offensive line pieces have he's been kind of a victim of that. So so. That remains to be seen on that front, but instead maybe pick up another tight end and drop Emmanuel Wilson just in case. So that's how I would approach it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that does look like a pretty solid roster. So Wally G, what you say?
Yeah, so we talked about Jared Goff, Bo Nix, Jacoby Brissett. What about Josh Allen? Well, it goes without saying to start Josh Allen. So
yeah,
which is why when we do our starts and sits, we don't mention the obvious. Like so like if we say start Christian McCaffrey, I mean, duh, of course you start. Who's next?
Of course. So, but anyway, I think we're going to put a bow on this edition of Fantasy Football Fever. And just don't forget, tomorrow night, the Penny Game Pick'em Show on 80 Pistol 90 channel at 10 Eastern 9 Central with Mr. Natale as our guest speaker. He'll be joining us tomorrow night.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so y'all stick around for that. And of course, you should never forget about Hooked on Sports. Hooked on Sports with John Flynn, Apple iTunes, Spotify, TuneIn, anywhere you get your podcast. And you can also watch Hooked on Sports on his YouTube channel, John Flynn.
Yep.
So hopefully all of you people, most of you, are in your final week of the regular season in fantasy football, just like we are. So good luck to y'all. Hope y'all get your playoff spots.
And in our league especially, good luck to John Natale.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna need it.
Yeah, I mean, because he needs to beat Casey to make the play and to make the playoffs, probably in all likelihood. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's definitely what's going to happen. So we'll let everyone know who is in our playoffs when we reconvene here 1 week from tonight, which will be on December 9th. So we'll recap everything. We'll preview the first round of our playoffs, and we'll kind of talk about the playoff run in the NFL. So hopefully y'all come back and see us next week because we'll be here, and I hope y'all will too. So, on behalf of my good buddies, John Flynn and Mr. John Natale, my name is Tim McClelland. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Have a great week. Enjoy the games. Hope to see you next week. God bless you all. And as always, be a good sport. See ya.